Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and salam sejahtera. My name is Nuhumara Fatini binti Kamal Zaman.
And I'm Nur Shufika Shabinas binti Nazari.
The first element that we need is the characters. We need to create a specific characteristic such as a main character, a hero or a protagonist where we mostly focus on them. Then the antagonist or the commonly known as the villain. Then other supporting characters, so the story would be more ready and perfect. The main thing you want your main character to have is a clear goal or what do they want to achieve at the end of the story. And these are the 7 tips for character development in short stories. If you are anything like me, the notion of writing a short story is nothing short of daunting. More daunting than writing any other types of prose, especially when it comes to character development. But fear not, we've got you covered with a few tips to help you break down characters development into manageable chunks. First, get to know your characters. Take some time to get acquainted with your characters. Yes, they are a product of your imagination, but they will also need to take on their lives of their own. Second, avoid unnecessary exposition. It's important for your readers to get a sense of these things through your writing, but that doesn't translate to listing each aspect of their appearance in a single paragraph and calling it a day. Third, create tension and dimension. Your characters don't have to be 100% likable 100% of the time. Living beings are not one-dimensional. They aren't even 3-dimensional, they are multi-dimensional. Fourth, don't use lazy dialogues. When considering whether your dialogue achieves what you set out to do, put yourself in your reader's shoe. If your mind was entirely wiped off your intentions for the dialogue, would you still understand its purpose? Well, as the old ages goes, if you have to ask, you should either remove it or contextualize it more truly. Fifth, don't try to fill in all the gaps. Don't try to tell your readers exactly how they should interpret or how they should feel about your characters. Otherwise, you risk sounding like you are giving lecture on your story. Your readers probably won't enjoy a story that analyzes itself as they read it. This is similar to avoiding unnecessary exposition, but it takes a step further. You want to work in descriptions of your character's experience and behaviors organically. On top of that, you want to avoid explaining the significance of those details to your readers. Sixth, use relationships to expand on your characters' backgrounds. How your characters relate to themselves and to others reveals a lot of their lives outside of your story. Show change is the 7th point. Dare I say, character development, no matter how short your story is, ultimately you are going to take at least one of your characters through the framework of the plot. The second element is the setting. You have to decide or create the best setting for your story, which you state where your characters will go, the era they're in, the day they're on, the times, and etc. You also include the details like the weather, the language, the speak, and the culture, and other things that could influence your other story elements. It can be changes from scene to scene. Now, I will pass you to my partner Nur Shufika. She will list more elements that you need for your short story. Thank you.
Okay guys, now focus on me. That's not the only element found in the short story. We also have an element which is conflict. What is conflict? Must be everyone be wondering, right? Okay, let me tell you guys. Conflict in a story is a struggle between opposing forces. Character must act to confront those forces, and there is where conflict is born. If there is nothing to overcome, there is no story. Conflict in a story quits and drives the plot forward. So now, I want to ask you guys, what is the purpose of conflict? Okay, conflict introduces opposing belief systems, wants or goals not just to entertain the viewer but to show the character another worldview. A character's goals and actions are dictated by their personal belief and what they want. If the character receives everything they wanted from the beginning, there won't be a story. So, when a character overcomes enough obstacles that challenge their belief system, they typically come out the other side and change. Conflict is divided into several types, which is person versus person, person versus society, person versus self, person versus machine, person versus nature, and person versus supernatural. Okay, now let's move on to the next element, which is resolution. For your information, the resolution is the part of the story's plot where the main problem is resolved or worked out. The resolution occurs after the following action and is typically where the story ends. Another term for the resolution is denouement. What is the function of resolution in short story? Resolution are important components to stories. This point in the plot offers a solution to the central conflict introduced in the beginning of the story. While not all resolutions are uplifting, they do tend to add closure to the reader. Let's take a look at the resolution example for more easy to understand. In Disney story Cinderella is faced with the conflict of being treated like a servant by her stepmother and stepsister after her father's death. The whole city is invited to a ball at the palace so that Prince Charming can attempt to find a young bride. Cinderella does everything in her power to receive permission from her stepmother to attend the ball. Luckily, she is aided by the fairy godmother and is able to secretly attend. While there, Prince Charming falls in love with her, but he is unable to attend her name because she was off to be home on time. All he is left with her high heel. He searched all over for the young woman whose foot will fit the high heel. And the story resolves when he slipped it on Cinderella's foot. The shoe fits, the high heel fits, and they get married and live happily. So, I think with that example, you can all clearly understand what a resolution is.